All right, we back episode 30. Um, lot,
30. Oh yeah.
lot of stuff's going down, bro. So when the sale news broke, I was in the car with my mom, and I thought it was a spam account. I thought it was, or not spam, but like I thought it was one of those troll accounts, um, that like fake breaks news all off season because there's like a million that use the past profile every off season. So I just like naturally I thought it was like a Wef Wasson one, but then I saw the blue check mark. I was like, holy shit, Chris Sale's actually going to the Braves. Um, and at first I was pissed because I was like, what? And I was like, oh, we got Von Grissom. And then just like I don't know, it's kind of nice to because like I don't know, Sale's like a huge part of the team and like my experience like watching them and going to games, but like I don't know, it's nice that they just send him to a contender and like there's no chance of his legacy here being like tainted with injury or anything.
I mean, yeah. If we want to talk about the move specifically, like I'm cool with it. Not too mad about it. Grissom, he's not a great defender, is he? I'm pretty sure that's not his strong suit.
He's a lot better at second base than short.
Okay. Well, I mean that kind of works out. 'Cause our second base is kind of in a rotating position right now. Like Pablo. Well, right now it's really just Pablo, right? For second
It's like
base.
Pablo Emmanuel, but I'd say Grissom's definitely better than both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and Trevor makes up for it at shortstop, so that's not too much of an issue. His bat's pretty good, right? Like above average at least, close to. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
I'm go ahead.
oh yeah,
Sorry.
no, he raked in 22 of the big leagues and raked in the minors last year in 23.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly kind of just happy we got positive value for sale. Like I think that's all you can ask for. Like with the money he's making in there, I think we're paying a lot of it, but still, to get value is nice.
And yeah, to get value out of it's nice. It's a little bit weird, like just if you think about it, not necessarily from a player standpoint, but from a positional standpoint. Like we should be upgrading starting pitching and trading that away for another middle infielder when I mean like I guess it's a weakness of ours, but I don't really think like second base was that much of a worry. Like I'm fine having Emmanuel Valdez and Pablo Reyes hit ninth and then just like trade off, sort of platoon. That's not second base isn't like a position where we need to have like a strong suit, especially with like how good our lineup is, like already. So if you look at it from like just a positional standpoint, I think that it's a bit of. I mean, I'm biased because I really liked Chris Sale, but it was a little bit of a head scratcher for me at first. I know that Vaughn Grisham, at least from an average standpoint, is a pretty good, sort of like average hitter. He's not really like he's not gonna hit tanks. Like last year, his WRC plus was like 78, so he's not like a crazy good hitter. He's still probably better than like nine hitter Pablo Reyes, but like it's not like we're getting some crazy, bro. Like I think that it was a down year for him because like in 2022 he had a 120 WRC plus. So I mean like hopefully that's the outlier and not the other one, but especially when we're thinking about our whole offseason plan has been pitching, not batting. It's like it's kind of odd.
I mean, I liked Pablo last year and I liked Emmanuel for most of it, but like Grissom, like when coaches or scouts talk about him, they're like not great at it, but definitely can play second. And like I know Emmanuel's been working on it, but like he was horrible at second last year. And the bat was by the end of it was good, but I don't know. I Grissom like when he came up in 22, he was the number one prospect in the Braves organization. And whenever you hear anything about him, it's just like, oh yeah, this kid can totally hit. But like I don't really fault him. Like 2022, he came up and he had an open spot to start. On the team, he was just raking because Albies was hurt. But I mean, last year it was one of the best offenses of all time, and he was just kind of blocked. So getting him to a spot where he has a fresh start, he knows he's gonna be here for a while because he's under team control for 6 years. Um, and he gives you way more upside. Like Pablo, I really like as the backup because he can move around, he can hit a little bit for average, solid defense. And then Emmanuel, I like the bat, but I Vaughn also with some of the speed, he's gonna give you more all around than any of you guys or the other guys need, and you could kind of just tell that they need like a consistent everyday second baseman that they haven't had since Pedroia.
One last thing I add about this move. If anything, I think all it does is opens up the possibility of us like adding in Valdez or Reyes as like a trade piece in some bigger trade. Or like I think there's just one more option that you can throw into.
Yeah, like when I talking about the sale part, obviously like he's never gonna really be fully healthy. And that's obviously a big concern with the last few years, but like it or not, that was 100 innings that you just lost from your rotation. So if they go out and replace it with like two starting pitchers, I'll be very happy with it. And all the reports are saying they've been pretty active. There's been some rumors in like Red Sox Reddit about them getting Blake Snell. Passon was saying they're pretty aggressive in the trade market right now. So as long as they replace those innings, it's gonna be fine. But like, yeah, no, I don't know. I kind of like the trade because they got a long-term fix for second, and I mean, like, do we really know if Sale was going to be like that healthy next year? Like, what if it was like 2022 where he just gets like another freak injury and like he could have been out for like the whole season and we're saying they're like without a second baseman, you know?
I mean, like, I guess you could bring up the argument that Chris Sale's injured, but at the same time, like, I feel I feel like he hasn't gone into an off season where he's actually like healthy at the end of the year in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, in years past, he sort of struggled to the finish line or just like been injured altogether and hasn't even like pitched at the finish line. So I mean, but obviously he has big injury concerns. I'm just thinking about it from like needs perspective because like different trades, like the same trade can look different for different teams based on like what you have around them. Like you can't like if we're looking at it from a pure like talent standpoint, if we're thinking about it in fantasy terms, let's say you play fantasy baseball. You think about it in fantasy terms, I mean, if you have a fantasy dynasty league, you're probably gonna want Von Grisham in the long run over Chris Sale. But if
Yeah.
you're the Red Sox and you have absolutely no pitching, and you have Chris Sale, who's been a guy for you in the past, um, I mean, it's just sort of it's tough to trade him for like only a young prospect at a position that is a question mark, but at the same time, like it's not like Von Grisham's like a good defender either. Like if we're looking at it, the two years that he's been in the MLB, his defensive metrics have not been good. So I mean, and if we look at Fangraphs, Pablo Reyes's defensive metrics are actually better. So I mean,
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, at least for now, Pablo's definitely better in the field, but like, I mean, 6 years of this guy's 22. He the bat profile's way better. He has a history of more success at the big leagues than any other option they have. And the point about like the fantasy team, like, it doesn't like the reason the Braves need to get Sales because I mean their windows can be open for like 10 years because they have all those guys locked up. But when you're a contending team like that, you can go out and make the like it's a risky to go out and get a guy like Sale. But for the Red Sox, when it I mean I don't we don't know the what's going on within the front office, but if you're looking at the roster and where the guys like Anthony and Teal and Meyer are. This current roster seems like it's more focused to contend for the division. I don't know about, obviously we need to see what they do the rest of the offseason, but as the team is set right now, it looks more like a 2025 playoff team than 2024 one. And they just, we talk about, oh yeah, they have all these guys, Teal and Meyer, Anthony B, like, and like Devers, Casas, long-term solutions in the lineup. Well, they just got another one because they needed another right-handed bat, and they definitely got that. Grissom can hit. And the glove could be average. I mean, he's athletic. He's going to be at an easier position. I just think since the team seems more focused on the long run, when we don't even know if Sale's going to really be on the team after this year, they cashed in and got a guy with 6 years of team control. Yeah. That, like, I don't know, like it sucks to see Sale go just because he's been on the team for so long. But like, I don't know, sometimes you just have to like cash in, like if like right now he might not even give you 100 innings next year. Obviously, yeah, it's the first time he's gone to the off season healthy in a while, but like I don't know, second base has kind of it's been a problem for like half a decade at least. Like they haven't had a guy play 100 games there since Pedroia, like a long time ago. Um, and they, just because they don't, there's a spot missing now doesn't mean they can't address it like in a week or sometime other this offseason. There's still pitchers on the market, and they still retained um all these prospects that I'd say make it easier to upgrade the pitching staff with people who are more guaranteed innings, because like was that Jay, you said like Valdez, he becomes more tradable.
Yep.
Perez probably doesn't have much like trade value, but everyone becomes more expendable to the point that they could go out and get a guy like Luzardo or someone like that.
Yeah, it's probably just a punt, to be honest. I mean, like every day it just feels like they're rolling the ball, further and further along to the point where um they're almost sort of retooling and trying to, build with their younger talent, build up over multiple years instead of like how we've seen them push in the past, like in 2018 when they just decided to go out and dominate the market and spend for these big players. I think that it's kind of weird because they have a lot of money to spend, and the Red Sox have never really been this sort of organization that builds within. I think the only team that you could justify that over the last four World Series is the 2013 team. But other than that, pretty much every team, we were just absolutely stacked and loaded because we were one of the biggest markets in the MLB. Um, and I think that, it's very strange to see sort of Craig Breslow being brought in, and then them not spending money. I think that more has to do with ownership than Craig Breslow because, Heim was brought in to sort of rebuild the farm system. He did exactly what they asked. They asked him to, get their salary problem intact and then build the farm system up. And despite the fact that, he wasn't really a good GM, that's mostly because he was brought into a tough situation. Dave Dombrowski has always been a big spender. He did it with the Tigers, back in the early 2010s. And then when the Red Sox beat them in the 2013 ALCS, that team blew up because they spent so much money on guys like Prince Fielder, Victor Martinez. And I think that despite the fact that Heim is, his legacy with the Red Sox will always, be hated on, he did his job. and he never really got his opportunity to spend, even though, you could justify that he earned that given that the ownership didn't really give him much of a choice as to what to do.
Do
Uh,
we? Sorry, one thing. So why do we think that they fired him? Was it just for like public appeal, or because like he did what the ownership said, right? So why did they fire him? Then, looking back at it,
I mean, I don't know. There could be
I think
like
it's just
50.
to save face, to be honest. I
yeah,
think it's just like goading sort of thing.
yeah,
I mean, like, I don't know. I think like big picture spending, like they're still up there in payroll right now. Like they're pretty high up there in the 220s, and um, like Breslow has been preaching like financial stability and like smart organizational habits, and like this is like a good habit to have. Like if he just came in, so it's not like he's the guy that traded for Chris Sale, and like obviously he respects him as a pitcher because he's done so many great things and respects him as a guy, but it's like he came at the whole team with an objective view. Um, so I don't think we should really be surprised that he's not like holding on to guys that don't honestly probably don't contribute to like the greater health of the franchise. Like, um, like I don't know, like the team right now, it's not they're what like the probably the fourth. They're it's not like there's a lot. What I'm trying to say, like, there's a lot of guys that they could still go out and get this offseason because a lot of guys they've been linked to are still out there. But like long term, it's not like they're a World Series contender right now. And Chris Sale's like this guy that was the last like piece that they needed to go out there and win. Like, no, they had a bunch of other holes to fill, and I don't know, I just feel like there's so many different ways that you could make the roster that there's like you're not going to go out and give a second baseman like a 6-year deal, but you got one for 6 years, and now spot in the rotation's open, so you can go out and like sign pitchers. Like I don't know. I don't think it's not. I don't think it's like a spending thing. I think it's just like objectively looking at the team. Like this will probably be more helpful for them contending, like possibly this year and definitely in the future.
Well, I think that, I mean, if we're going to talk about spending, I think that part of the reason they did this is because Chris Sale has a big contract. He's up next year, whereas Von Grisham doesn't have a big contract because he hasn't been in the MLB for that long. So, I mean, I think that a large majority of this move was spending. I think that over the past couple of years, that's all the Red Sox have sort of focused on is trying to conserve money. And, this year they've been like quote unquote linked to everyone, but they haven't been like full in on anyone. There were all these reports when the Yamamoto thing was going down, like Red Sox are in, Red Sox are out, Red Sox are in, Red Sox are out. And that's sort of been the wave with every free agent signing and just like most big names that's sort of gone by. The only one that it's like confirmed the Red Sox are in on or at least have a good chance of getting is Jordan Montgomery right now. And I mean, it's kind of strange that you would do that because if you're trying to like build up young, like no hate to Jordan Montgomery, but he's not that young, bro. Like he's already like 30, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, but like Montgomery would be on the team for like 5 or 6 years. Sale's only gonna be on the team for like what, maybe one more. Like we kind of saw, like Yamamoto's by the end of it, you could see just he wanted to be a Dodger. He wanted to, once Otani signed with the Angel or the Dodgers, you could, and looking
I
back on
think
it,
that I yeah. I think that they were a package pretty much.
Yeah, but like yeah, the Red Sox have kind of been like interest kings this offseason, but like realistically, like who that they like who have they needed um like hasn't like is off the market like or not needed because obviously everyone needs like Yamamoto or Otani, but like Otani they just like we want him, but like they just weren't really ever in on it. It seemed Yamamoto once Otani signed with the Dodgers, it was all over. He was just going there. Nola was never going to leave Philly from what it sounded like. He just got locked up right there. But like Montgomery's still on the market. He's it's not like he's incoming signing with the Yankees or the Giants or the Rangers or anyone. Snell's still on the market. Um, I'd say since the Giolito signing, it only seems probably a little more positive. And like, I mean, looking back on it, like, would it even have been smart to spend last year? Like, two of the biggest free agents, like Nimmo, like we don't need Nimmo. We already have like we're already trying to ship off our some of our outfielders for pitching because we
Yeah.
have like Rodon. I didn't want them to sign Rodon at all because I was like, no way with that injury history. And that contract's like already one of the worst in baseball. Like, um, they've the tiptoeing with the it's hard to win when you're not either fully committing to a rebuild or fully committing to going all in. And like 2022, kind of tiptoeing around with some of the trades and stuff. It's kind of hard to win like that in the AL East, but like I mean, you can see they're really only a couple arms away, and then just growth within the system from being a playoff team. So like, just filling another hole, and then like they're still guys that can really turn them into a playoff team. I just kind of think it's like that's this is like a great offer for sale with that injury history and that contract. Like I think it's honestly, I think they got the offer and it was kind of too good to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said, like I think most Red Sox fans would agree we're only like the two starting arms away from competing for a playoff spot, right?
Yeah.
And I think I saw something on Twitter. We're like it's like 30 million below the luxury tax for this year. Like, so we can. Does that mean we can sign for that amount and still be fine?
I
Or
mean,
what?
like
Yeah.
they can once you hit the first luxury tax, you lose your second round pick.
No, but I'm saying they haven't hit that yet, right?
Oh no, yeah, like they're so they have space. It's just kind of like if they're gonna get Snow and Montgomery, they have to clear space to get guys and stuff. Because all right, unless they blow over it.
So what I'm saying is, can they just afford Strip giving them the contract with like that they want and not having any penalties for it right now? Like, do they have enough cap space to just like shell out like 30 million to one of them?
Uh,
Yes.
they
That's it.
do.
That's what I think most Red Sox fans are frustrated about, right? Because like the path is
Yeah.
clear, and like for all the people arguing about like staying under attacks, like that's not an issue here. So what is the issue? I think that's what
I
most
mean,
fans are doesn't
I
make
think,
sense.
yeah, I agree. I think like sort of the aggravator for me is the whole like we've been linked to Montgomery as like the main Montgomery option this whole winter. He's literally living in Boston, training at BC this winter. And like, I mean, there hasn't been any talks to say like Red Sox are closing in on deal with Jordan Montgomery. Like we got linked to him at the start of the winter, but I really feel like they haven't made much progress, at least that we know of, with him. And I feel like that's kind of problematic because that was one of their main, targets going into the offseason. And it's sort of gone silent on the Montgomery front, at least from what I've heard of on social media platforms and other platforms. So, I mean, that's where I sort of stand. I agree with the Jay. I think that, you have this money, and they're just sort of sitting here in a middle of the road position because the worst thing you can be is mediocre and not tanking, but also not competing for a playoff spot.
I mean, like, yeah, but I I agree that you don't really ever want to be caught in the middle, but like, I mean, Montgomery's still out there. Like, Snell is still out there. Obviously, like, it's always nice to just like Chris Sale they got him in like mid December. I think David Price was early December. Like, it's always nice to get guys early on, but like it doesn't always work like that. Like Jay Martinez was signed late, and honestly, like Scott Boras has like a chokehold on the industry right now. Like because I'm pretty sure him, Montgomery, and Snell are both Boras clients, so he could just be saying they're like saying like the longer that these guys are out there, the more money they're gonna make. Like they could just not be interested at signing um until like February or something. Like I think if Snell and
Wouldn't that
Montgomery,
make it more advantageous to sign them now then? So that
well,
you're not signing for more money?
no, but they could just not be interested at signing right now at all. Like it's not like Montgomery just signed with the Yankees and the Red Sox weren't even interested. Like he's not being linked anywhere. If anything, like there was some report like the Rangers lost their TV deal, so they might not be re-signing. But like just because like no one else is being really linked to Montgomery or anyone. Like he hasn't signed anywhere. Like it's not. I don't know. It's not like all these pitchers are just flying off the shelves, and the Red Sox are just saying they're like they're a lot of guys are still out there.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I don't know, and I mean they just got like I think in terms of the Giolito signing, I liked it because um it only being like 1 year is kind of sketchy, I guess. Because if he goes off, he could just leave. But I mean, I don't know. It's a temporary fix, I guess. It honestly, it could just be a safety net. In terms of signing, trading for one of these young ace types. But I mean, at least it'll keep guys healthy this year since they'll be making every start.
Yeah, I mean, again, we were talking about last time. Like, hopefully, it's not too many years. I think it's probably the best case scenario, right? When it comes to a G League contract, 1 year, 19 million. Don't gotta worry about too much, really, at all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The opt out is well worrisome, but like I mean, we would have killed for him to be on the team last year, just making every start. Like, um, it's kind of hard to see because eating up those innings in like July and June, that would have kept Paxton fresh, would have kept Bayo fresh, um, would have kept Sale fresh. Who knows? Like, it's I don't know. It's just they're gonna have Pivetta and Giolito each making 30 starts in the rotation, probably. Like that, I'll take that.
Sure. So right now, what is our rotation look like? I know we have Bayo. Is Pavetta like a confirmed starter right now?
Not
Right
confirmed.
now, he kind of has to be.
Yeah, once he got the sweeper going down the stretch, he had one of like the best ERAs in baseball after May. One of the best FIPS too. Like he was really good. And obviously he's only signed through this year, but like when you see the rotation needs all these innings, like I think you gotta put him in.
That's true. And what's his face? Are they gonna? Is Crawford like pretty much set for the rotation
Yeah.
right now? Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like he should be.
He
So
was
what like
solid.
yeah, like Bayo, Pivetta, Giolito, Crawford. Um and then
Ideally,
yeah, like yeah, like
two nice ones in the market.
yeah, like I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of any team really giving Snell like a 7 year contract, but I mean, with him being rumored to be open to like a high AV like 3 year deal, I feel like the team should. snatching that up at least just like for the upside, like um he'll give you whiffs, which
Exactly.
it's always a plus, and the walks maybe someone can figure out. I mean, Montgomery or Snell I'd both take. And then in the trade market, just like Luzardo, Valdez, any of the Seattle guys, like the top end ones, like those will all play. It kind of just comes down to like how the chips fall, I guess, because like they could just be like cooking something devious up right now, and we just have no clue. Because like they've been keeping it like under wraps the whole off season, so like I don't know. It's more. I think like the next move they make, I think, is going to be like really telling about where the off season goes. Because like right now, I feel like it's pretty optimistic. After the Giolito moves and getting Grisham, because it seems to set the precedent for like a bigger move to come. Um, I think just like we got to wait until the next one falls to see what happens.
Man, I mean, again, all the logic's there, right? But like,
That's great.
I love your optimism, man. Like, again, a bigger move should be coming based on what we had so far. But I feel like we guys wait to see what actually happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, almost feels good, too good to be true.
but like I don't know. I don't like staying really in the middle ground, but like when like a lot of the pieces that people could think be a huge part of their rotation are still out there. Like I don't think it makes sense to get too riled up in any direction because the team could just have a totally different like vibe going into spring training than it does right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look good.
Yeah, and I think we can end on that. Just like I don't know, I like they got good pieces. There's definitely still things they need to do, but like all the play like Lazardo hasn't been traded, Snell hasn't signed, Montgomery hasn't signed. Like all the guys they kind of need are still out there. Like I think we just gotta wait and see a little more.
Let me ask you one question right now. Let's say we don't get any of those pitchers, right? And we start. Let's say we convert like Whitlock or how stay as a starter next year. What's the ceiling for this team that we have right now?
Probably around the same as this year. I think if like they don't get any starters, you probably focus on 2025. You I know there's been talks of like trading Kenley. I think you probably do that. Uh, Pivetta, I'd like sticking around a few more years just because he's he's just a rubber arm. Um, I think Giolito gets traded. Just like all the 1 year deal guys, I think go, and then they keep the young core because we know the core. It's just like all about getting to the point where it all clicks. Like
Yeah,
I think no more moves are made. It's kind of going to feel the same as last year.
yeah.
The year after it, that's when you really see like, okay, everyone's here. Let's go and do it.
What's like a ideal off season for y'all? What do you think?
Right now,
Yeah,
uh,
like best case scenario, like realistically, not like
realistic,
outlandish.
realistic
Um,
trade for. I would trade for either Luzardo, Burns, or Cease. One of those three. I honestly don't care which one. I'll take any of them. And
Honestly, like I like on Cease just because the White Sox are being so ridiculous. With their trade proposals. I'd say give me that, like you said, Lazardo, the whiff, Cesian, and then I don't know, like another solid guy, maybe trade for an upside guy like